Today was in the impeachment hearings, the big day where Gordon Sondland, the guy who initially said no quid pro quo, and then slightly adjusted that to definitely quid pro quo, testified. Now, before we get to the videos, we have a bunch of awesome videos of Gordon Sondland testifying. I want you to know what sort of person Gordon Sondland is. Not from my point of view, but from Donald Trump's point of view. Back in October, he said, "I would love to send Ambassador Sondland, a really good man and great American, to testify. But unfortunately, he would be testifying before a totally compromised kangaroo court, which he had to be convinced did not involve actual livestock." But anyway, so he thought, good man, great American. Keep that in the back of your mind as we continue through this and when Donald Trump gives his evaluation of Sondland today. But let's go to the first video. Some of the most important, simple points made by Sondland. Here's a big one.
I know that members of this committee frequently frame these complicated issues in the form of a simple question. Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
That seems pretty simple.
This is hearsay, John. This is from third hand accounts. This is from playing telephone. This is from a can and a string. They keep going with the same thing. Even last week when they were saying this is third party information, these people didn't know the president. These people weren't working with the president. These people didn't hear directly what the president said. I was like, just keep waiting, because this is a collection of evidence.
Yeah.
A multitude of witnesses that are saying what happened. And then when they want to ask their own witnesses, again, many times the Republican House side wants to say, well, this person didn't agree.
Yeah.
Well, now that's like their opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And look, they kept saying second, third hand information. So Gordon Sondland was directly talking with Trump. He was directly talking with Zelensky and his aides. But here's the thing, it's really important that you understand that it's not just that the argument that the GOP says we've only been getting second, third, and fourth hand information. It's not just that that's inaccurate. It's that they are lying to you and they don't care. Gordon Sondland was directly involved in these conversations. They don't care what he said. Right now, they're very glad to say that Zelensky didn't feel pressured, even though reporting indicates that he very much did. But if Zelensky came out with a press conference today and said, yes, it was clearly a quid pro quo, they wouldn't be using that talking point anymore. They would simply jettison Zelensky into the middle of the sun. They wouldn't care. It is so fake. And I know that makes it really frustrating to follow along with this, where we're supposed to pretend that there's people on one side and they believe one thing, there's people on another and they just disagree. No, some people are trying to get to the bottom of whether a crime was committed, whether impeachment is merited, and others are lying to protect their power. It's really as simple as that.
If you want to think about it fully, you've got, again, these numerous witnesses that are confirming the same thing from different angles. So it's not even just the same story, it's different angles from different points of view that are confirming the same outcome and the reasoning for them getting to that. And the one person who said it that is not the way it is the guy that they're accusing of it. So if you have all these witnesses and then the one guy who's being accused of it said, I didn't do it, that's your basis?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Sondland, he's the big guy today, but he's not the only one hypothetically that could have increased exposure after this testimony. We can't go through all of what he said about a multitude of other people in the Trump administration, but here is one quote where he managed to tie in multiple people.
Officials in the State Department and the Chiefs of Staff's office, including Mick Mulvaney, Secretary Pompeo, were aware of this quid pro quo, that in order to get the White House meeting, there were going to have to be these investigations the president wanted.
Correct.
And those, again, are investigations into 2016 and Burisma / the Bidens.
2016 Burisma, the Bidens did not come up.
But you would ultimately learn that Burisma meant the Bidens when you saw the call record, correct?
Of course, today I know exactly what it means.
So Mulvaney, Pompeo, at some point he also talks about conversations he had with Mike Pence as well. So he really was not only a first-hand source of information for Donald Trump and Zelensky, but for virtually everyone else at the top of the Trump administration on this.
So the only thing left after this is to say how he's a never-Trumper, how he hates Donald Trump from the beginning. He's been trying to get this guy out of office. He's working with Adam Schiff. Who is this guy again? How much did he donate? I don't know if it's just to the, was it the campaign or the inauguration fund?
Yeah.
Because once his candidate was in office, he donated $1 million for his inauguration fund because he hates him that much.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, I wish he hated me that much.
Yeah, shower me with some of your hate. So look, there's more big important stuff to get to, but let's just take a brief intermission for one of the fun moments that came up in the middle of all this.
Well, he also testified that you confirmed to President Trump that you were in Ukraine at the time and that President Zelensky, quote, loves your ass, unquote. Do you recall saying that?
Yeah, it sounds like something I would say. That's how President Trump and I communicate, a lot of 4-letter words. In this case, 3-letter.
But so anyway, so that was fun, and that was a big quote that came out last week. And so look, we don't have necessarily direct references to a lot of stuff outside of the text messages and everything, but that was a great one. But anyway, to get back to the really important information, the actual specific nature of what Donald Trump wanted, that is something that I have been trying to be very clear on. And that also came out, I'll give you more details in a minute, but that also came up with Sondland, as you'll see here.
He had to get those 2 investigations if that official act was going to take place, correct?
He had to announce the investigations. He didn't actually have to do them, as I understood it.
That is like the most important thing for a couple different reasons. You look like you want to talk. You can go first. Okay. Well, no, you first.
So it's such an illustration of the way Donald Trump has always worked. We don't actually need anything concrete. We don't need any meat to this. We don't need the investigation to actually come up with anything to convict anyone or even to put them on blast. All I need is for it to look a certain way. As much as he talks about central casting and he wants this thing to look a certain way, he's a reality show host. That's who he is. He's a faker. He creates this veneer, and then you're supposed to believe what's going on. So he's like, it's too much work to make you guys, hey, President of Ukraine, I don't want you to actually do much work. Just say you did it so he can help me out.
Yeah. And so like think about crooked Hillary. That was every 3 seconds during the 2016 campaign, he was saying that. How much concrete evidence did he need to provide to his base to make that narrative stick? None at all, really. And with Biden, what does he need? He needs Fareed Zakaria to be interviewing the Ukrainian president, which was scheduled, and for him to say, I'm looking into Joe Biden and this corruption, and that would be it. The Ukrainian president could then go home. We would not need him anymore for the rest of the campaign. Trump would say, crooked Biden. For the rest of it, that's all it is. But what's really even more important there is the obvious understanding that there's nothing to be found. It's not that Trump actually believes this conspiracy theory involving Joe Biden, and he thinks, man, if we really dig into this, it's just gonna keep reaping these rewards. He doesn't care if there's anything there, and he suspects that there's not. That's why he wants the announcement. If he actually cared about corruption, whether just weirdly for Joe Biden or for Ukraine in general, he would need actual investigations. That's what he would need to get to the bottom of it. There's no bottom he's looking for there. He dwells at the bottom, okay? And the bottom is just plausible deniability to start a narrative about crooked Joe Biden. That's all it is, and that's what this quid pro quo is about. It is about justifying his campaign strategy. It has nothing to do with actual corruption, which Donald Trump not only doesn't care about in the US or internationally, but engages in every way that he possibly can. And it certainly doesn't have to do with Ukrainian corruption. He doesn't care about that at all. He doesn't know anything about Ukraine.
Not at all.
It was about an announcement that he would be able to play over and over in campaign ads and that he would reference in his rally speeches. That's it.
And this is galvanizing the fact that even though this has turned up nothing on the Bidens, specifically for any kind of corruption based, and sure, I mean, a name can get someone a job, but look at the way that he's also pursuing this even without that announcement. Corrupt, these Bidens, corrupt, these Bidens are corrupt, they're corrupt, these Bidens. Imagine if President Zelensky had actually said so. Hey, we're gonna launch this investigation into the Bidens. That's all he wanted. And he didn't even get that and he's still doing it. So imagine if he got it.
Oh my God, yeah. At the end of the day, like he sure wanted Zelensky to go on Fareed Zakaria and say that. And again, the only reason that didn't happen is because this whole thing blew up. And then the aid was very quickly released. They keep pretending that those two things aren't true. But he's probably still gonna run on it anyway. It doesn't even matter. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.